Howdy YouTube family, it's Bolt CRNA coming to you again with another day's topic. Today is part 2 of our Q&A that I asked for you guys on Instagram, Bolt CRNA over on Instagram. Go follow me if you're not already. So you guys asked me a bunch of questions. Today we're going to get into the last handful of these questions. Let's get into it. So this viewer is saying they're in a master CRNA program 1 year from graduating. Would you bridge to DNP? Yes, I would. Really, everyone who is not, I'd probably say within 10 years of retiring, I would say go ahead. If you've got a master's already, do the bridge program, get your DNP. It's expected, it's the entry level baseline for practice going forward from pretty much now on. So if you're going to be practicing for 10 plus more years into the future, you don't want to have an educational degree that's considered not the standard. So yeah, do the bridge. You know, if you're absolutely just terribly hate school and you would never ever go back to any form of school again, then you don't have to. I mean, as far as now, there's been no word that they're going to make anybody transfer over, and they'll probably allow you just to be grandfathered in. How confident in your abilities were you right out of nursing school? I wasn't overly confident, I would say, but I also wasn't scared of my own shadow. I think there's a very delicate balance, whether you're a new nurse or a new CRNA or a new physician, whatever you're doing, once you're out of training and licensed and you're going forward to perform a role, you can't be scared of your own shadow. If you're so scared that you're constantly going to make a mistake and that you're no good and that you're not smart enough and that you're bad at IVs and you can't do this, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You probably will be pretty bad. You probably won't succeed very well. Your patients probably will sense that about you, that you don't seem to be very confident in what you're doing, which will make them nervous. They're going to be thinking, this person taking care of me is not very confident in what they're doing, and my life might be in danger. So yeah, I would say have some self-confidence. Learn that you studied for those years of schooling. What did you do for 4 years for your bachelor's in nursing? You obviously worked hard and learned a lot, and you're in the position you're in because you passed NCLEX, and the state and the nation licensed you and said you are competent and capable of being a nurse. So therefore, step forward with that knowledge and go home at the end of your day and continue to research and study and learn. Don't be foolish and think you know it all and you don't have to learn anymore. Go home and study. I definitely studied. My first year of ICU nursing, I went to icufacts.com, I think is the website, or it might be .net. It's a really good resource for ICU nurses, and I would look up ABG data, and I'd look up different types of pathophysiology that was going on that I didn't know a whole lot about, like TTP and things like that I would see my patients would have, and I would research and stuff. You need to do that. I do that as a CRNA, and I assume all healthcare providers should be doing that. Can a CRNA own an independent CRNA only practice? Of course. I have personal friends who own multiple anesthesia practices, and I may own my own one day as well. So we'll see. I'm playing around with the idea if that's something I truly want or not. But yeah, you definitely can. Is locums work as a provider the same as travel nursing? No, it's different. It's called locums when you're a provider, and it's called travel nursing when you're a nurse. I don't know. The entire difference is mostly that as a locums, you're going to be what's called a 1099 contract worker, and as a nurse, you're still going to be a W-2 employee, but you're going to be like a W-2 employee of a travel nurse company. And then they're going to bill the hospital for your services, and their hospital will pay them, and then they'll divvy out the paycheck to you. And then they'll offer you maybe some benefits or something through their travel nurse company, and they're also going to offer you like a housing stipend and other types of things like that. But as a locums, you're pretty much an independent contractor, and you negotiate with a hospital or an anesthesia group a certain amount of money that you want per hour, and then you just go and work that amount per hour, and then you have to supply your own malpractice insurance. As a nurse, you don't have to do that, and you're pretty much responsible for all of your own things. So yeah, that's some of the differences between being a travel nurse and a 1099 locums worker as a provider. What's my student loan payback plan? So my payback plan is just aggressively dumping money into my student loans and paying them off as fast as I can. Most people know I had like $200,000 in debt when I graduated school, and I put about $65,000 straight away into it from savings and dumped it down to like 140 or so, and then I continually pay about $5,000 a month. I just dumped about $5,000 a month into it, and so it should be done within 2 years or so, I guess. What's my thoughts on the ACT model versus an all CRNA model? Well, there's actually a lot of different types of models of anesthesia delivery. So the ACT, meaning anesthesia care team, is one model, and that's usually considered medical direction, which is the way that you bill Medicare. It's called medical direction, and that's usually where a physician anesthesiologist and a CRNA work together on a team, and they don't exceed a 4-to-1 ratio, where one physician anesthesiologist can't be working with more than 4 CRNAs at a time. And that is usually where the 4 CRNAs are administering anesthesia and running 4 different cases at once, and the one physician anesthesiologist is jumping between rooms and giving bathroom breaks and lunch breaks, and usually coming in the room for the beginning of the case and helping you start the case, and then helping you finish the case when it's time to wake the patient up and go to the recovery room. So that's what's called an anesthesia care team. Then there's collaborative models, which is more of like loose supervision models, and those are where there's not any set number of 4-to-1 ratios the way you bill Medicare. That they don't care if you have 4-to-1. You can have more numbers of CRNAs to physician anesthesiologists, and you all just kind of practice together in whatever way the group decides works best. There's not as many rules about it, and those are more like loose collaborative roles. And then you have independent CRNA only models, which is just a whole team of CRNAs, and sometimes there are physicians who also work amongst those groups with all the CRNAs, and everyone just provides their own anesthesia for their own cases and really just looks out for themselves. Like, there's not a whole lot of crossover between everybody. So yeah, there's all these different models. I think all models work well for different settings that you're in, different setups and settings, and whether you're in a small rural hospital or whether you're in a giant 80 OR academic learning facility, different models of anesthesia delivery work better for different areas. So that's what I think about it. How to answer an interview why you want to be a CRNA. This is going to be personal. Like this question is asked oftentimes in CRNA school interviews, and they're looking to figure out personally about you what makes you tick. Why do you want to be a CRNA? Well, what's your reasoning? That means a lot, because your personal reasons for driving you to take on such a hard ordeal to try and go to CRNA school, it means a lot to defend why that is, and you should have a very clear answer of why you want to be a CRNA. And if you don't, then their concern is maybe you're not going to make it through CRNA school, because you're going to have to sacrifice and work very, very hard for this goal. And if you don't have a very solid, clear answer that you can like write on a whiteboard on your wall and stare at every day, that's going to drive you to keep working, you probably won't make it. So they don't want to see that you can't make it. They want to see that you've got a reason, and they want to hear that reason. And it doesn't need to be because you want autonomy, because you want more money, because you like the lifestyle. Those are all poor answers, and those are not enough of an answer that will drive you through the 3 years of hell that you're about to go through, and they know that. So they don't want to hear those answers. They want to hear something from you personally that's going to drive you to make this work. So it's going to be a personal answer. Think of personally what it is that drives you to do this. How to get involved as an SRNA. Now, you're not going to have much time to be involved in many things as an SRNA. I tried to be involved in as much as I could within reason, and that was a stressor at times. I was involved with my national association, which was the Tennessee Association of Nurse Anesthetists. I was elected by my classmates to be the student representative for our class to engage with the Tennessee Association of Nurse Anesthetists, and also be involved in the political things that are going on in our state, legislation stuff, going to the Capitol every year and talking to our representatives who represent us to Congress, and advocate for CRNA practice and SRNAs and things like that. I would go to Washington, D.C. every year. So essentially, what I'm telling you is you can be involved. In fact, being involved as an SRNA is really important, but choose to be involved in very few limited things. And I would say the AANA is important to be involved in, and the in your state chapter of the AANA, which for me was like the Tennessee Association of Nurse Anesthetists. If you're in Virginia, it would be like the Virginia Association of Nurse Anesthetists. Be involved in the state and then on the national level. And ask your program director, because they're going to be able to hook you up with all those things. How to stay calm when poop is hitting the fan. I'm new to the ICU. This is hard. A lot of this is just learned behavior. You're going to learn this over time. You're going to do this as you're watching the other ICU nurses who are experienced around you. When you're watching their patient decline and they're on a balloon pump and suddenly it's not firing correctly and things are going wrong, and there's critical moments where you have to react rapidly to maybe save a life. If you're going to watch them and you're going to see they did this, this, and this, and they didn't freak out, they didn't panic, they didn't cry, they didn't freeze and stop doing what they had to do, you're going to realize they did exactly what they needed to do in the moment, stayed calm. So you're going to mirror that image, and there will be moments where things happen and you're going to just go into this ICU nurse mode where you're not really thinking emotionally, but you're thinking logically of like, I have to do this, this, and this, or this patient may die. And so you're going to do those things, and you're not going to freak out, and it's just a learned behavior. Sadly, it's not something that you can just say, I'm just going to do this from now on. It's going to be something that through a habitual practice is going to be what you're going to do. What's my favorite thing to do when I'm not working? Well, obviously I'm shooting YouTube videos right now. This is like 2 hours of my Sunday afternoon that I've put time off to do this. So this is one thing that sucks up some of my time, and I enjoy it. I enjoy connecting with you guys and recording YouTube and putting stuff out there that I think people want and that might help somebody. And so I like doing that. Other things I like to do, I like to watch Netflix, just like the rest of America. I like to play video games. I play my Xbox. I am buying the PlayStation 5 as soon as it comes out. I like to take my dog to the dog park. I like to hang out with my girlfriend and go on like weekend trips into the city and go see new things and try new foods. Hang out with some friends occasionally. COVID's kind of messed all this up. I don't get to do any of that much anymore, but hiking. Oh yeah, hiking's a good solitary thing you can do during a pandemic. I did that quite a bit throughout this pandemic. So yeah, those are what I like. Those are basic things I like to do. Favorite type of case. I don't really have a specific type of case that's my favorite, I would say. I like to keep a varied skill set, and I like to keep a varied type of day. So I like OB, but I don't want to do OB every day. I like GY hysterectomies and like GYN surgeries, but I don't want to do that every day. I like urology and cystos and things like that, but I definitely don't want to do that every day. I like lap choles and abdominal surgeries and inguinal hernia repairs and colostomies, but I don't want to do that every day. I like occasional spine and neuro cases, definitely don't want to do that every day. Maybe occasional pacemakers and some moderate cardiac type anesthesia, but I don't want to do that every day. So point being, I like a little variation of everything, and I don't like to do the same thing all the time. GI lab, I like once in a very blue moon, but definitely don't want to do that every day. Eye cases, I like, but they're fairly easy, and I think you get kind of bored if you do too many eye cases, too many days in a row. So point being, a little bit of variety makes everything more interesting. Oh, and a follow-up question is, do you feel like your job gets monotonous or boring? My job is not monotonous or boring because I just mentioned all the different types of areas that I work within. So each different type of area that I mentioned has a slightly different approach to how you're going to do your anesthetic, to focuses that you're going to have, to the patient populations you're going to be dealing with. I feel like if I did eye cases, if I just worked at an eye center and just did eye surgery cases every day for months, yeah, that would start to feel pretty monotonous and boring. But I don't do that, and I don't really plan on doing that, where I just do one type of case and get kind of bored of it. Each different types of case has different challenges and different thought processes, and each patient is going to react differently to anesthesia. You can have the same gallbladder surgery, you can line 10 of them up in a row and have 40-year-old males as all of them, and they're all 70 kilograms, and they're all blonde-headed, blue-eyed, and that you think they're all going to react the same way to medication, and you'll find that there's 3 of them who react totally unusually for some reason to the ventilator, to the medications, to what's going on, and it's a wild card. You don't understand why they did something differently, but they will. And you will find that with patients, especially as you add on comorbidities and other interesting drugs they may have been taking or prescriptions and things. You will find that patients will surprise you even in what should be a normal, boring case. PC or console? Definitely console. Like I said earlier, PlayStation 5 coming my way. I might buy the Xbox One Series 1 Xbox One Series X. I can't remember. They've changed the name so much, but I might buy both the new Xbox and PlayStation consoles. What upcoming game am I most excited for? Probably the new God of War. And how do you project confidence as an SRNA? This goes hand in hand with the earlier question about being a new ICU nurse and confidence. There is just an element to it of just saying, hey, I've studied, I've worked very hard to get here, I've earned my position at this location, rotating here. I know that I can do this, and I'm just going to put my best foot forward. And each day that you do well, you congratulate yourself and you celebrate that. And on days that you don't do well, you don't beat yourself up, but you look at the ways that you maybe could improve and how you're going to be better tomorrow. And just keep that in your mind over and over and over again. Well, all right, guys, that was everything. I got all of your questions out for the Q&A. I hope that I answered everything that you wanted to hear. I want to hear from you down below if you got any other questions I didn't get to. I want you to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button for me. It helps the YouTube algorithm continue to recommend this video to other people. I want to see you guys over on my Instagram page at Bold CRNA. Head over there, follow me on Instagram and connect with me on Instagram. I love seeing you guys over there. And of course the membership, if you want personal one-on-one membership and mentorship, we can do that through that avenue. So hit up that mentorship and membership subscription. I'm interchanging those words over and over, and I'm losing it now. I'm forgetting which word means what. Words mean nothing to me anymore. I've talked until I can't think straight. So that means it's time for me to go. That's going to be till next week, guys. Bolt out.